this century for the human race.
The New York Times reported, the men who make the pesticides are crying foul, and companies are preparing briefs in defense of their products.
Now, although there are a number of scientific errors, misquotations, and obvious misinterpretations in her book, it must be admitted that much of her material is, in part at least, scientifically accurate. The area of disagreement between Miss Carson and students of applied agricultural chemistry, however, will lie in her clearly misplaced emphasis. She discounts and deliberately depreciates all those safety measures which research laboriously has developed and built into each new agricultural chemical that emerges, while she concomitantly bills the possible and alleged hazards of these compounds to horrible and simply staggering dimensions.
Time magazine agreed. It called Miss Carson's book an emotional and inaccurate outburst. But the majority of magazines and newspaper reviews and editorials were favorable. A New York Times editorial suggested that Miss Carson would be as deserving of the Nobel Prize as was the inventor of DDT, if her book helps to arouse enough public concern to immunize government agencies against the blandishments of the hucksters and enforces adequate controls. Silent Spring did have an impact in Washington. At the Food and Drug Administration, Commissioner George Lerick said,
I think very definitely it had an impact on the Food and Drug Administration. I think it causes all of us to take a new look at our responsibilities to the general public.
At the Department of Agriculture, Secretary Freeman.
Let's say the book, I believe, will have helped the American people in alerting them that we need to do more work, but we also need to be personally conscious. This is like anything else. The government isn't going to do it for you. Somebody else isn't going to do it for you. Basically, you're going to have to do it for yourself. And that means to protect yourself, and that means to see to it that your government protects you where you can't protect yourself.
During the past years, do you think that the public was sufficiently appraised of the potential hazards of pesticides?
The answer I could say very quickly is no.
At his press conference on August 29, 1962, President Kennedy was asked,
there appears to be growing concern among scientists as to the possibility of dangerous long-range side effects from the widespread use of DDT and other pesticides. Have you considered asking the Department of Agriculture or the Public Health Service to take a closer look at this?
Yes, and I know that they already are. I think particularly, of course, since Ms. Carson's book, but they are examining the matter.
The next day, the administration announced that the government pesticide program would be reviewed by the Federal Council on Science and Technology and by a panel of the President's Science Committee.